Devastator Smash Green Muscle Man. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. It's time for another classic Generation 1 Transformers review. This is Combiner Month. And what a better way to kick this special month off with than with the one that started the craze all the way back in 1985. The Generation 1 Decepticon Warrior, Devastator. Devastator and the Constructicons were available in 1985. They would also be available in 1986. They would be discontinued in 1987. And while we may have gotten a replacement in the form of the other combiners, by 87 that would be Abominus, I really don't consider that to be a replacement for him due to the fact the Constructicons had a very specific function overall as a group. However, Devastator would reappear to us again in 1990 as an Action Master. He has the distinction of being the only Combiner toy to be remade as an Action Master. Take that as you may. Devastator is the one credited with starting the trend of bringing about the Combiner robots into the Transformers franchise, and he sold like hotcakes. The 6 Constructicons were sold for a while as carded figures on the shelves. Each one would include some pieces that would be required for forming Devastator. Near the end of 1985, they would be released together in one gift set box that would have all of them together and a special set of instructions, which we will look at later on in this broadcast. Also, we also have the tech spec for Devastator that was only available when one bought the gift set. We will be taking a look at that later on as well. Right now, let's take a look at the big boy himself. Let's get a little closer. And he does look imposing and awe-striking. Save for those colors. I have no idea why Hasbro thought bright green and dark purple would work well for a construction robot. But it does add to the monstrous appearance that Devastator is trying to go for, and he succeeds at it in more ways than any of us could ever believe. As for articulation, that's always been a problem with the Combiners. Their articulation quite commonly is limited only to their arms. But in the case of Devastator, it does get a little bit worse, being the first guy out. The right arm, since Scavenger is on a special hinge, does allow him to rotate freely all the way around with ease. Being gentle with him on this, folks. Bone Crusher, though, as the left arm, you got to rotate him out a little bit in order to rotate him fully. Otherwise, he runs up against the chest plate. As you can see, he's running up against it. You got to rotate him out a little. But if you get him out a little ways, he will rotate fully. As you saw, the fist popped out. That's a pretty common occurrence on loose Devastators. You kind of just learn to get used to it. But that's where the articulation goes. But Devastator does have, thanks to the way his arms are designed, he does have an elbow joint. So you can rotate the elbows, bend his arms at the elbows a little bit. he is the only one that can do that, so not a bad bonus feature for him. Of course, for those of you who played the Transformers Devastation video game, you can also build the original Devastator in that special configuration that he appeared in late in the game, as his set does include a pair of drill heads that can be used instead. Unfortunately, you can't move into better battle poses with those, but at least you got that much. Now, let's break him down and show you how you build this bad boy up, step by step. Step 1 involves converting Bone Crusher here into the left arm. So all you'll need for that is you need this specific target shooter, the one with the hole on the same side as the trigger mechanism. And you'll need the left fist. Or if you would prefer, you could also go with the drill bit. We're going to go with the fist on this, folks. For it, you need Bone Crusher in vehicle mode, as you see here. Underneath him, you'll find a post right here at the back of the bulldozer. That's where you connect the target launcher. Push it on there real good so it's on snug. And then you just insert the fist or drill into the other end. Make sure it clicks into place. Now remember, given the age of these launchers, it may pop out on you accidentally. But there you go. See? Just like that. And that's the left arm of Devastator. Next up is Scavenger. He forms the right arm of Devastator. Like with Bone Crusher, you'll need him in vehicle mode. You'll also need this target shooter that has the hole here on the opposite side of the trigger mechanism. You will also need the fist, the right fist, and also the Magna laser. Or you can substitute both for the drill if you would prefer. The target shooter connects onto this post right here on the front of Scavenger. Then you would insert the fist, just like that, and connect the rifle by putting it in his hand. They also kind of recommend, it's not shown in the instructions, but shift this forward a little bit so you can keep the steam shovel arm down behind the fist. Or if you want, you can just use it to help hold the fist in place, giving him kind of like a brass knuckle bit. But also, on the underside of Scavenger, you'll see this little metal bar. You want to shift his treads down a little, fold that bar down, and put his treads all the way back up. And then now, Scavenger has formed the right arm. Step 3 involves turning Scrapper into the right leg, and that's a pretty simple affair. You just have him in his vehicle mode. All you need to do is raise his shovel up and then rotate his arms all the way out until they come to a stop. And there you go. The right leg of Devastator. Step 4 involves Hook becoming the upper torso, basically the head and shoulders of Devastator. And for that, you will need the super wing. You'll need this green laser. And you'll also need the robot head. The head is mounted on a special clamp piece. You'll basically just raise the head up. To get Hook ready to be the body, you take him like this and pull him straight out on this bar, and then swing the cab over towards this side, like that. That way you've got this little post here sticking out on the one side, and you've got this hole here on the opposite side. To lock it in place, you'll take the Devastator head and slide it in on the back side to help hold him firmly in place. You'll take the green laser and stick it in to the side, on this side of Devastator's head. Adjust it so it points forward. The super wing, as you can see on the back here, has a lot of holes and a little clamp. You'll basically want to connect this hole here on the top onto this little post on Hook. This clamp here on the wing will connect right along the front of Hook. Just put that on there, and there you have it, folks. The head and shoulders of Devastator. Step 5 involves Longhaul becoming the lower body, or basically the hips, to Devastator. And what you'll need for that is this piece here, called the missile mount. And I want to advise people to watch this piece for stress wear. As you can see right here on the camera, there's a little bit of stress wear forming on this side of the connector. Just kind of be careful with how you connect your transformers to it. And you will also need this green wing. Alright, to get Longhaul ready, you basically hold the dump truck like so, grab the front of it and fold it down till it pops into place just exactly like that. Then you're going to take the missile mount and you just gently squeeze it in here, putting this purple portion right between the chrome sections. It should snap right into place. Then the green wing connects with this tab into that slot underneath the dump truck. And there you have it. Hit your head down, kid. The lower body, or the hips, of Devastator. Now, lastly, the final step, to turn Mixmaster into the left leg. Again, it's just a simple affair. Get back over here. You'll hold onto the truck, pull out the cab all the way out as you can, and just rotate the cab portion upward to a 90-degree angle. And there you go, the left leg of Devastator. Let's put this guy together. Start building Devastator. We've got both legs standing there. So now we'll take the hip section, scrapper connects into here, like so, by connecting this bottom portion underneath his legs and clamping scrapper's legs into this top portion. Just exactly like that. Mixmaster here fits his head into this section right here. Pops right in, and there you go. To mount Hook in on top, all you got to do is you've got this hole and this post. They will attach to this post and this hole on top of Longhaul. Bring them up close so you can see them and connect them together. connect the arms, we'll start with Bone Crusher on the left. Bone Crusher connects to this little metal post via this black hole underneath him. Now, I can't see it very well on the camera, but it is a square-shaped hole, so you will have to make sure you are properly lining it up. If you got a rather loose sample of Devastator, you may find it just a little bit of a challenge, but you might have to hold him steady while you mount him. There we go. Get your head up, kid. Everybody wants to see you. And then lastly, to get Scrapper on there, all we got to do is connect the post on him into this hole on the side of Hook. Adjust the shield there. And there we have it, folks. Devastator. Now, during all of the assembly, you saw a vast majority of the loose parts. So I'm not going to recover all of those, but I will take this time to show off the rest of the loose parts. Like we have 2 of the drill bits. We also have, whoops, dropped one of them here under the table. Have what the instructions recall are twin blaster missiles. You know, one that's a single unit here, and you got one here that's a double unit. These are mainly used for Mixmaster. And then lastly, you will have 6 laser guns. You get this one here. That was Bone Crusher's gun. This is Scavenger's gun. This is Mixmaster's gun. Oopsies. This is Longhaul's gun. This is Scrapper's gun. And lastly, this is Hook's gun. You got a fair amount of pieces to get if you want to get a complete Devastator. Now, when it comes to directions for Devastator, there are 2 sets available. The more common one is this little paper set of instructions. These were included with all 6 carded figures. They would show you going through the steps just like I did on how to make Devastator. Get my arm out of the way so we don't shadow it. And then of course you get the big shot here of putting him all together. And they detail the instructions on it down here at the bottom, along with mentioning of how to use the rub signs on all the individual toys. But if you got a gift set, you got this monstrosity. This is quite different from the other gift set instructions, as you will see later on in other videos this month. So this starts out by going through how to deal with Hook, how to make him into an attack crane, and then how to turn him into the robot, and how to put his stickers on. And we go down here, it does the same thing with Longhaul. And we come down here and they got Scavenger next. Then down here at the bottom, we got Mixmaster. There's just my shoulder there, folks. And on the back side, we start off with Bone Crusher. And lastly, on a shorter note, we have Scrapper. Then it shows again about the rub sign, saving your robot points, and getting your tech specs. And it also has an added bonus for them. You get little bios for each of the combiners. For each component, you get their motto, their function, and the bio on their tech spec cards. In the interest of time, we'll just save those for when we're doing their personal reviews. Then they go into the directions here to build Devastator, and as you can see, they are exactly the same as what the little ones were, except you get a real big picture for Devastator. It's a rare sight, folks, because that's the only one that ever had it done that way. Now we'll take a look at Devastator's rather rare gift card tech spec. It's done in purple to show he's a Decepticon. It lists him up here as a Constructicon, and this would have been the picture of him on the front of the box. It gives his name as Devastator. His function is Warrior, and his motto is, "Thinking and winning do not mix." Awesome and terrifying. A bizarre combination of 6 Constructicons. Scrapper, Scavenger, Bone Crusher, Hook, Longhaul, and Mixmaster. Pure brutality. Sole purpose is to crush all in his path. His mind is a melding together of his 6 parts, but limited by their competing thoughts. Enormous height, incredible strength. Can knock down a bridge with one punch. Has 10,000 degrees Celsius solar energy beam rifle. Slow, awkward, not too bright. Well, let's put this good. Let's uncover the grid here with the decoder and see what his vitals come up as. It gives his strength as 10, his intelligence is 3, his speed is 1, his endurance is 9, his rank is 6, his courage is 10, his firepower is 8, and his skill is 4. So he is pretty dumb, pretty slow, and just barely capable of doing his function. But everything else about him makes him very terrifying indeed. As a toy, Devastator beat out the Collect 'em All franchise idea many years before Pokemon ever came up with the idea. Devastator encouraged us through all the ads that we constantly saw of him to collect all 6 Constructicons. We just had to have them all in order to form the super robot. And that impulse definitely sent Transformer fans out in droves in 1985. Many of the component pieces in certain areas were also very difficult to find. Here in the area that I lived in Ohio, Hook was the hardest character to find. I have no idea if that's true in other markets, but I suspect Hook was probably the more popular one due to him being the piece that came with the head. But at any rate, that impulse drove us nuts. Hasbro took notice of it, and the combiners would become a permanent fixture throughout the Transformers saga, even remaining so today. As, let's face it, what was the biggest thing to draw us in to see Revenge of the Fallen? It sure as heck wasn't to stare at Megan Fox in the short shorts. We wanted to see Devastator. Unfortunately, Michael Bay still screwed him up. But as a toy, Devastator still holds up very well, even against many of the more modern and better built combiners, even in his own generation saga. Devastator is a monster. The way he is built up, he gives the appearance of being a mechanical monster, a Frankensteinian combination of different construction vehicles. According to the backstory and the lore, the Constructicons use a more ancient method of combining, which is why it requires 6 of them to go together, whereas most of the others that would follow in their footsteps only required 5. However, they are under permanent orders from Megatron and or Galvatron to not reinvent their process in any way, shape, manner, or form. Devastator is brutality in robot form, and they do not wish to lose any of that effectiveness. Even though, as a soldier, Devastator is only average. While his strength and his endurance and courage make him the ultimate warrior to send in the battlefield, the fact that he is very slow and not very bright does hinder him in combat. Theoretically, one would suppose that he would be able to use all the special abilities that come about from his combiner components, like especially with the fact you've got a chemical engineer down here in the form of Mixmaster. You've got a medical or battlefield surgeon in the form of Hook. You would think that Devastator would be able to utilize some of those talents. Unfortunately, since all the Constructicons give their input into the brain of Devastator, they limit how he's able to think. Each one of them does not want to allow the others to have total control over the super robot. So their lack of trusting each other kind of limits how effective Devastator truly is in battle. However, that still doesn't stop any of the Autobots from fleeing in terror at the sight of this mechanical behemoth coming out to get them. Despite the flaws in the toy and really the military tactical usefulness of this super soldier, I'm definitely going to put Devastator in the top tier. He did start the trend that has become the bane of a lot of collectors out there, and Pokemon fans as well, but Devastator does hold up well in our modern age and still holds a great legacy and a place in the hearts of many Transformers fans. While many of the others that came after him did improve the formula for combining, Devastator started the trend off and started it off on an incredible note. So, top tier, folks. And that concludes my review of the Generation 1 Decepticon Warrior Devastator. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. Also, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already. Please also like and share this video with others, and please do put your comments in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of Devastator, especially before the big version decides to kick that little version into next week. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.